Happy Wednesday. It's AdTalk episode 15, and we're here. I'm pumped for this one. We're just doing a State of the Union today. We're going to go through all the latest, greatest marketing news. And of course, I'm Dakota, your host, and with my co-hosts, plural, Caleb. What's up, Caleb? And Matthew. What's up, Matthew?
Good morning, guys. Good to see you.
Good morning, man. This is like my favorite time of the week, honestly. Sitting down with you guys, chatting through just like random marketing topics, getting the people up to speed.
Oh yeah.
And kind of giving our little spin on it. So hey, if you're here, stick around because we got a lot of cool stuff to talk about today. We're going through really just what's going on right now in the grand world of marketing, but also we like to just talk a little bit about tech and how things are changing. And all three of us here are basically 30. I'm almost 30. Matthew, you just made the voyage into 30. Congrats. Happy birthday. Caleb,
I'm an old man. I've been 30 for a few months now.
Hold on to that. But what that means is we're kind of like young millennials, some maybe like young to mid millennials. And I think we grew up enough with technology to like kind of embrace it as it comes and not fight it as much. But even now, me, someone who has always embraced technology, things are now starting to change so rapidly that I'm almost like, what? Am I out of touch? So I feel like selfishly, this podcast is like almost designed for someone like me who like, I don't have time to keep up with all of the crazy things that are happening, but I'm going to try my best. And at least we have someone to talk to about it. I can talk to you guys and feel like I'm not crazy about all the stuff that's moving so fast in our world.
It was just the other day you guys told me about furries. I didn't even know what that was.
Oh gosh. Yeah. The team, we had to bring Caleb and up to speed on furries, which was hilarious because I don't know. All I knew about furries was that like every time I'm with a family member who's like 50 plus, they seem to think furries are taking over the world or maybe like, I don't know if the news has told them this or what, but it's like there's litter boxes in classrooms now, for these kids who think they're animals. And I'm like, man, I don't know about all that, but is it true? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like everybody's like, but it could be true.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's
your
crazy.
point, Caleb, man.
Yeah.
What's going on?
It's just, there's a lot of stuff that's changing, and it feels like every day there's like a new crazy story. And, where even we think things are going, it's like, there's just like changes and turns along the way, which I think is kind of really interesting. The first like topic that we want to get into is something that I feel like I didn't believe was true. Especially like just being in the marketing world and seeing like everyone's been using like all the different apps. Right. And what I think, speaking to your point, Dakota, like what our age group typically is using on the daily, Snapchat's really interesting because I've been thinking that it's been dying, but the stats are showing that that's actually the exact opposite. And it's the fastest growing platform right now, I'm pretty sure, is like in 2023. It's like the fastest growing one. That's
13.4% growth in 2023, which is set to dethrone TikTok, right, as the fastest growing. Now, we're not talking about the biggest by any means. It's still very small, but the fastest growing social media platform is Snapchat.
So interesting. I mean, like if you would have asked me before, like seeing the stats on this, if you would ask me like, where's Snapchat going? I would have been like, oh yeah, that was like a fad, like it kind of, it had its heyday and it's just kind of slowly trickling away. But that's not the case. It's definitely not the case.
What's interesting about Snapchat? So I used it right when it came out. Like I must have been in college, right?
So it launched in 2011.
I don't know. Yeah. Okay. So I was a junior. So I must have used it like my freshman year of college, right? Like, and I remember being like, yeah, I don't really have a use case for this, right? Because I'm like dating JC, like we just text, you know what I mean? Because I always thought it was like, you use it to kind of like romantically, talk to people, right? Like I thought that was the use case, and maybe it's changed since then. I don't know, but I know that they came out with Snapchat stories and that was the big thing. And then Instagram basically was like, nah, we'll do that, and it became like Instagram stories. But what I found fascinating was I stopped using it for years. And then I became a teacher, right?
Yeah.
And all of the high school kids instead of texting each other, snapped each other. And it wasn't like images like of anything cool. It's like they would just hold their phone up and just take a picture of like the right side of their face in a bunch of nothing, tap on it, type in some text and send it. And it would just be like these casual, like, I'm just going to take a picture of my feet now, like wearing shoes under my desk, and just type in a message and send it. And they go back and forth, messages disappear, and that's it. And everyone used it to communicate in high school. So it was still very much a thing. And this was 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
But my thought is, when do people stop using it, right? Because in order for it to grow, there has to be retention.
Yeah.
But what 26-year-old to 30-year-old do you know that's still using it? They all used it in high school, but like, I don't know what the retention curve looks like is my question,
There was a reported use of 245 million users in 2018. So that sounds like, there was that initial like hype, and then there's been like a drop off, which we would have like expected with this kind of like fad app kind of thing. But last year, 550 million people worldwide used the app, and they project 670 million to use Snapchat by 2027. So it's like defying the fad and just like continuing to climb, which is,
I think it's going to keep growing, in other words. But I mean, is that growth coming from more people that are young adopting it, or from people?
I think it's twofold. I think it's like more young people are adopting it, and there are more young people coming into that age demographic probably at right now than maybe are leaving. If that makes sense, you know what I mean? And so like, I just think that the market for Snapchat users is just basically about to just get bigger, essentially, as the like middle schoolers kind of move up into high school, like, I don't know. That's at least the way that I'm seeing it.
Matthew, I wonder if you could search this up while we're talking, but I did read something a couple months ago about Snapchat's influencer like monetization, I guess, process, right? Like basically, how YouTube pays their creators, Instagram barely pays their creators, TikTok pays their creators. I've heard that Snapchat's is by far the best. Meaning like, if you have an audience on Snapchat, because it's not just what I described, it's not just the chats, there's like stories and like, you can be an influencer on Snapchat. Like I know like Logan Paul or those guys, those guys have like huge followings on it, and you can monetize your stories with ads. Like you check the box basically just like YouTube, and they pay you a huge percentage of your ad revenue, to the point where I think people are making like 6 figures plus just being influencers on Snapchat. So obviously that's a huge recipe for retention as well, is if all your favorite people are creating on there and you're actually going there to consume content, not just talk with people.
So from what I can tell, it's pretty common for like the higher percentage of influencers on Snapchat to be paid more than $10,000 a day in ad revenue share through their beta program, which is
wait, what?
insane.
Yeah, like the big ones.
That's nuts.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, that's what I was reading, and that's a smart play, man, by Snapchat. They're just trying to increase retention and value.
Yeah, So you need to have at least 50,000 followers, 25 million monthly views, and post a minimum of 10 brand safe stories a month. So
okay, so there's like some prerequisites.
Yeah.
Yeah, that plays into it for sure. We can't deny that is definitely a recipe for success. If you can get creators to make exclusive content on your platform, that's where the platform shows growth, in my opinion. And I think that's why Instagram growth has lulled, not only because like they've kind of already hit their target market, like most of the people who would have it already have it, but most of the time content that gets posted on Instagram, at least lately, is recycled. It wasn't created just for Instagram. It was created for TikTok or YouTube or whatever, and it's recycled for Instagram. But these Snap stories, I feel like, are pretty dang exclusive to Snapchat.
For sure.
And people will go there.
And one thing that's especially interesting is that they, when they launched this, it's called Snapstars beta program. They included a Shopify integration into it, so it's going to be driven like largely by e-com kind of stuff, and basically they don't need to do anything other than swipe up and click purchase. So it's super easy, and obviously this is why people are getting like 10K a day, which is just incredible.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're, which one is it, Logan or
They're the
Jake?
same.
I keep putting it on my Instagram story. Like, I have no idea which is which. I really don't. Whichever one made Prime. I tried Prime the other day. It's good. It's really good.
It is actually pretty good. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
I've had
good.
to.
And it's not, there's no food coloring in it. And it's like pretty natural ingredients besides like the sweetener and stuff. And I was like, dang, man, this is like, I would rather have this than a Gatorade,
Mhm.
Anyways, like that world of influencers creating a product, it's perfect for that platform, right? It's like you
Mhm.
just said, Matthew, it's like, hey, I'm Mr. Beast. By the way, we're doing a sale on Feastables. Swipe up here. Feastables website, click, boom, purchase. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep. Yeah.
it's just a no-brainer for an influencer,
Exactly.
especially if your demographic is young people.
Which obviously, if it's keeping retention high and it's increasing in users, that's going to be like you said, the newer generation coming in, finding it. And I feel like Snapchat kind of had this weird early cycle death because of people our age, but then it's just like found a new home in like Gen Z. Is that right? Gen Z is the youngest at the moment, or Gen Alpha, I guess they've cycled back.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
they started over.
This is such old
Yeah.
man talk. It's like, what is the current generation?
I mean, it's all made up anyways. Geez, it's all made up. We're just putting arbitrary lines on things. Now, I will say, Snapchat also just had a negative image with our generation anyways, because we had never really known about the concept of disappearing messages. So immediately your brain goes to like nefarious uses for that, right? And I'm sure it still is used, like I'm sure it's still used for that, but especially because what's weird about Snapchat is you can take one photo and push send to your whole list.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not like a text where it's like you got to type in the names. It's like, no, you have like a list of people and you can send one message to everybody at once, like a broadcast.
Yeah.
And they all open it, and you can see what they say or whatever. And I think that leads to some dangers for kids. Absolutely. And we can't ignore that with the growth of the platform. Like for me, that's why I'm still wary of the platform as a whole, because it's like, especially kids that don't have their brains not fully developed to understand consequences of their actions quite yet. It's not a great place for them, in my opinion. Right. Yeah. There's a little too much at risk here.
Yeah.
Communicatively.
Yeah. Let's give a bunch of high schoolers a way to send images that disappear. You know what I mean? Like it's just
to like everyone they know.
Yeah.
To everyone they know.
Yeah.
Now, like that's you can go to a dark place pretty quickly. So interesting that it's growing so fast. I am surprised because, especially, I don't know if you guys remember the whole hype when they went public a few years back. Everyone's like, Snapchat's going to explode, and the stock went up and down. It was like this whole thing. I mean, it's cool to see that they're still pushing and still growing. It's kind of a cool story.
I wonder if like companies are leaning into like the nefarious nature of how Snapchat is perceived with their ads. Like, could you imagine something like do you know what Momofuku is? Like the instant noodles like brand or something. So like imagine if they had an ad that just said send nudes.
Send nudes. Yeah. I've seen that marketing before. Send nudes, the NOODS. Yeah. I mean, they should be if they're not. That's pretty hilarious. All right, so that's Snapchat. We've got a whole other list of stuff to talk through today. But hey, comment below, if you're listening to this, tell us what you think about Snapchat. Have you used it? Do you use it? Because we don't, but like clearly people are. It's growing. So it's kind of cool. Next topic that I think is one that we should at least touch on is, we got to talk about Twitter. I refuse to call it by its new name still. So Elon Musk, a couple of weeks back, maybe it was last week, said, yeah, we're going to get rid of the block button. What are your reactions? What do you guys think?
I guess like give me more context. Like what else did he say with that? Like was it just we're just getting rid of this without an explanation, or like did he provide any?
I have to find the post. From what I remember, it's mostly like a free speech type deal. He's going real ham on free speech lately, and he thinks it's like anti-free speech to like be able to block people potentially.
But what about just choosing to not follow them? Like,
well, yes. So this is where the opinions get made, right? Which is like, sure, unfollow or, ask, like just unfollow, but it's not that simple. It's when someone's following you and bullying you, you have to have a way to say, bro, stop. Like,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Or if someone's stalking you in real life, you know, and they're doing weird crap on your Twitter, you got to have some sort of defense mechanism, right? Like that's
For
where I
sure.
come from, where it's like, hey man, there's some creepy people in the world
For sure.
that only mean harm, especially if you get big on Twitter, a platform where it's known for your opinions. If you're like somebody who has a very extreme opinion on something and people disagree with you, you kind of need to have a defense mechanism because people are crazy, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So for me, that's where it comes from. It's less about like who I follow. It's more about who's following me. Right?
Yeah, I that's a really good explanation. I think if I'm on a platform and like someone is like harassing me and I'm tired of it, like I wouldn't want to just have to deal with that every time that I logged in. You know what I mean? Like I would want to be able to say like, okay, like, hey, I don't want messages from this spam person anymore. You know what I mean? And like be able to remove that. So yeah, I mean like that's, if you can't do that, I feel like that's really weird and strange. Like I don't know why he would remove that.
I think it would lead to less people wanting to use the app,
For sure.
honestly.
And he said that you'll still be able to block people in your DMs, but I mean, how many replies do you see under like people where it's just like straight harassment or like racism and like, all this sexist stuff?
Yeah.
So they can still comment on your tweets,
which is the whole point.
But
of
they
Twitter.
can't DM you.
And they can see them all still. I don't know, man. He keeps doing weird stuff like this. Obviously, I think he's under the impression that any press is good press, you know, but it's I read somewhere, somebody replied to one of these that was like, there's a legislation that was passed at some point where you have to have a block feature on social media for the safety of its users.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true or not. Would have to fact check that, but that makes a lot of sense to me. It's like, I've had creepy people follow me and reach out to me before, and it's like, I'm not going to just like engage with them. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not talking about on Twitter, but just like on Instagram or wherever. It's like, you got to have something to be like, I don't really want this person to be seeing the stuff that I put out there, you know?
This is a really interesting discussion, actually, because now I'm trying to think about it from the other side of the table. Because I feel like, no, we should have a block button. Like I would want to get rid of people that are annoying me if I could, right? If they're harassing me. But at the same time, if I'm sitting across from the other side of the table, I can see their point of like, this is like an open forum, and what we're not trying to do is like silo people into their own like belief areas. It's kind of like all opinions, no matter what, can come into one area, right? Which I feel like is a pretty cool concept too. So like I can see kind of the benefits there, but also like if someone is straight up harassing, I think there should be a way to deal with that too. So that's tough.
That's a good point.
That's really tough. Really
tough.
tough.
If we were to take harassment out of the equation, like if there were just not bad people out there that were trying to cause harm, then I feel like, maybe.
Right.
Maybe. Right. The problem is there is. So that's the hard part is but also like, dude, like when you read through, like, for whatever reason, when I scroll through Twitter, like it pushes things in my feed that I disagree with a lot. Like it's just doing that to me lately. And because I think it wants me, it knows that I disagree and it wants me to engage, you know? And so I feel like this is part of like the engagement thing. Like if I'm thinking of Elon, it's like, there's a lot of people who want a block button and think this is dumb, but is it bad enough that they'll stop using the app? Right? He's weighing his things. And if they don't stop using the app, then it's going to be really entertaining, you know? And people are going to really not be able to look away if, you know, Barack Obama can't block Barack Obama hater 1, you know, from all of his tweets. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, that's the thing with Twitter though, is it's just like there is, for every protagonist or whatever, there's an antagonist. Like, like there is. Like, it's just
I wonder if this is like an ego play by Elon where he's like, I'm the most blocked person on my own platform. I can't be having that. And it's like, I don't know.
Dude, I wouldn't be surprised.
That's where my head went too, is I was like, okay, if he's doing this, it's funny because honestly, Elon is one of the more controversial people like in America right now. And so it's interesting to me that he would make this play, because not only is he opening the door for him to be able to comment on people that maybe blocked him, but he's also opening up the door to all the people that hate his guts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's pretty interesting, honestly. Yeah.
We could see the return
know.
of the
Well,
plane
let us know what you
tracker.
think.
Oh my goodness.
Dude, that's
Let's
right. You
go.
can't block the plane tracker. Like that should be case in point right there, dude. So someone was literally stalking you via a plane tracker, and to the point where your child was threatened in the back of a car, and you're still not okay with the block button. Come on,
Yeah.
that's wild to me.
It is.
All right, next thing, Meta. Speaking of social media platforms, Meta is considering a new subscription model which would enable the EU users, those fellow friends of, or maybe ex friends, I guess, of Matthew. I don't know. Brexit happened. I'm confused about the whole thing. Geopolitics is a little too intense for me. But the EU users would be able to eliminate ads from Meta by opting into this paid subscription instead. Because basically, there's a bunch of legislation happening in the EU that's like anti ad tracking, right? Like it's pro privacy, which honestly is going to continue to happen worldwide as the years go by. I think this is just the first place that we're seeing it because the EU's, on the front edge of human rights usually when it comes to these kind of things. So Meta's basically like, well, let's get ahead of this and let's offer an ad-free version of our platform that they can pay for instead. I've got opinions. You start us off, Matthew. What's your opinion on this?
Well, I certainly miss my brothers from the EU. First of all, so ex-brothers.
You've been excommunicated from them.
Oh, that was so sad. Let's not get into that. That's a whole other podcast.
You've been Brex communicated.
Oh no,
it's amazing. I think this is really interesting, especially coming off the back of Meta having basically a subscription for verification, and they've seen that's gone well, and
yes,
I feel like this is like their next step for monetization while also seemingly to provide a service. So I'm reading a couple like earnings report projections that could pitch the subscription to between $6 and $8 based on earnings. And obviously the verification is $12 a month. So you'd basically be looking at like $20 a month for Meta Premium, for lack of a better word, So I think it's super interesting. I could see a lot of people taking this up because I think so.
Really?
But interesting. I think we've got a little disagreement.
See, that's where I'm stuck. I can't. I don't know, man. Like who takes this up? What power users out there are like, I gotta have it. I
mean, it's the same people who pay for YouTube Premium. They just don't want to see ads.
No, dude, it's not the same people.
You don't think so?
I pay for YouTube Premium. Yes, I also pay for the verification on Facebook. I pay for the Twitter one just because I want to know if there's a feature. I want to know what it is and I want to have it. I've just always been that way. Like I don't want to not have the thing. I got the Spotify Premium, all of that. But this is different because basically they're saying the EU is going to eliminate ads as they see it right now. So you either pay for a subscription so that you can still use this app, or you just don't use it. I think is the difference.
I don't think that that's the way that they're going to go at first. See, I think it's going to be more of like they roll out both options, and then it's like, okay, you have the ad-free version, and then you have the ad version. And if you don't want ads, you pay for the better version. And then if you don't, then you probably just get served a bunch of really crap ads because the data is going to just keep on getting worse and worse and worse. And
but
so,
dude, who is going to pay for the crap ads? What advertisers want their crap ads to get no results?
Well, you're going to have a lot of ad revenue to drop for sure. And I think it's going to be probably the same sort of way that most advertisers view Twitter or X, whatever. And like, I think that you're going to get a lot of people that are like, Meta ads kind of suck in the EU, but like there's certain products that it works for, kind of a thing. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I see your point. I do. I see your point, but I feel that this is like, if they're willing to launch Facebook Premium, Meta Premium, whatever, and talk about it this early, I think they see the writing on the wall that ad revenue is about to tank.
For sure.
Advertisers are going to be running around trying to figure out where to put their ads. And I think like if you're just doing the math on what it would take to monetize and keep your revenue the same, I'm sure they need a huge number of people to say yes to this for it to even work. I just don't. Here's the thing, man. I think casual people like, which is 95 to 99% of users of anything who don't want to pay for it or can't pay for it, they're not going to change their mind on wanting to pay for social media, in my opinion. Like, it's ingrained that it's free. In fact, people think they have rights on social media. Like, that's how ingrained it is in our society. They're like, I can say what I want. This is America. Like, no, dude, this is Facebook. You can't say what you want. Like, this is a privately, run company, or I guess it's publicly held, but this is a company that you're saying that on. Like, it's not like you're going outside and yelling it into the abyss. Like, this is owned. And so I think in our culture, it's ingrained that, like, this is free. We know as advertisers, it's not free, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like people will have in my opinion, they'll have a really hard time being like, oh yeah, I pay monthly for Facebook now. I don't know if it will compute.
So I agree with you that I think you will get less people to take this offer than something like YouTube Premium. I think because YouTube is like intrinsically a platform of just watching content, it gets really annoying for people to like have to pause what they're doing to pay attention to an ad. So I think that's why they want to eliminate that. I think that the people who will end up paying for this are the people who start to see that their user experience on Meta gets worse and worse because they're getting just absolutely crap ads that they don't like. And they might start being like, this is getting really annoying for me to use this. And then they'll have to make a decision in their head. Do I just quit using Facebook altogether? Or do I say, hey, I enjoy the platform, but I'm sick and tired of these ads and I'm going to pay the $6 a month or whatever it is. You know what I mean? It's just, it's going to come down to the people who have to make that choice. And I don't know. I mean, like, what I think is the more interesting discussion, to be honest, is I think that it's where do we see this going down the road? Because like you just said, Dakota, you think that the like privacy stuff is just going to continue to get more strict. And if that's the case, do we start to see this come to America? Do we start to see other companies go for more subscription-based models? Like, is this the new way that social media is headed? I feel like that's that's an interesting discussion. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I don't think any of us do quite yet, but like, a lot of companies do great with subscription models. I'm not saying that like that it's, I don't know.
I think it comes down to and we've had this discussion in the past, and I think the way that it would have to the use case for social media would have to fundamentally change for a subscription model to become the norm, because I think what makes social media attractive to people is that you can reach the masses. Now, at least, it didn't start that way. I mean, I've had an idea for a social media app for a long time, right? And I think that the app, in my idea, would be like more so a paid app, because it wouldn't have enough reach for ads to be like the main thing. But as social media stands now, it's like their main strategy is get as many people on their platforms as possible. So much so that Meta has put internet servers in remote villages and countries so that they can get on Facebook. You know what I mean? Like, that's how much it matters to them that everybody uses this. And they've dominated social media with that strategy. So I don't think they would do anything to jeopardize their user base. I don't think they would do anything that would cause a huge drop off in retention, because that's all they've worked toward for years and years and years. Now, newer apps that come out, I could see where you might be right, where it's like, this is like, in my opinion, if this starts happening, a competitor comes out and says, this is the premium social media network here. Here's how it's different. You'll never be served an ad. We'll never collect your data. We'll never do this. We'll never save your conversations. It's all encrypted. It's all secure. It's just you, your friends, what you're doing, and that's it. That's, to me, what could disrupt this, and could go like premium. But I don't see Meta or any of the big dogs figuring out a way to make as much money as they're currently making with like a subscription model. I just think it's too counterintuitive to what people think social media is.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I don't think I see them ever going full subscription to where it's like you pay or you don't use it. But I could see a world where they start testing out like, hey, you want a little bit better of an experience? Like, we're rolling this thing out, try it, kind of a thing. I could see them
I mean,
testing.
yeah, I'm paying for it right now, right?
Right,
Like
right.
the check mark.
I could see
just,
them doing stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. You're not wrong, dude. It's wild to think about, anyways, the regulations that are going to be happening with ad privacy. And, you know, if you guys that are listening haven't caught up with a lot of that stuff, most of the ad platforms, even like down to Google Chrome, right? Like they're changing the way that they're able to track data, and it's going to become more secure and more private over time. And I think as that happens, these platforms are going to start relying on their in-platform data a lot more, the stuff that they own, you know, and we're going to see over time a lot of this change, but I think it's going to take a lot of time. I think people like their personalized ads. It's as simple as that. They might not admit it, but you like when you see an ad that is something that you actually would purchase, and then when you purchase it, you actually like the product. That's happened to me a lot of times, you know, where I found a product through an ad, purchased it, and was very happy with the quality. Like people like that experience. And if you take that away and all the ads, like you said, Caleb, are just generic crap, it's not, I don't think people will like that experience either.
Yeah.
Especially on like, this is meta wide, obviously. So, you know, previously we used to think of just like Facebook as like the ad platform, really. But with Instagram being so visually important, if you're just scrolling through your feed and then you see some like completely irrelevant ad, like your feed is like your curated like zone, basically, where you see everything that you want to see. If you're scrolling through and you see something you don't want to see, that's gonna like cause a lot like a loss of retention immediately. So like I do definitely think, I think there's like the three options of like targeted ads, generic ads, no ads. I think no one wants the middle, and there's just like pockets that would like either one. So but I'm just interested.
They don't want the middle, but they also don't want to pay for the platform, and they also don't want to be tracked.
And they don't want to be tracked, exactly, dude.
You got to pick one.
Yeah. Yeah. But no one like, well, I shouldn't say no one. The vast majority of people don't think in this process that we just went through, right? Like no one understands like kind of how,
unless they listen to AdTalk.
Unless they listen to AdTalk, yeah. So those of you that are listening, you guys are the smart ones. You guys are the smart ones. But
all right, what else we got?
So one thing that sort of like plays off that interestingly is Peacock. So they recently like turned off their free tier of viewership, and now they're doing a basically a paid with ads and then a paid without ads tier as well. So they've also increased the hike, that they've increased the price as well, which is causing some issues along with those things. But one interesting,
so there's no more free version of Peacock.
It's like $4.99 is the base, but you have ads, and then it's $11.99 without ads.
That base model, a lot of platforms do that base model where you, like Hulu, I think does it too, where you pay like half the price and you still get ads. That is so bogus, dude. I hate that more than any. Like we just said, the three options. Were they not listening? The three options are no ads, crappy ads, or you know, personalized ads. And these are the worst of all three. This is like, oh, we'll give you some ads and you pay us. You know what I mean? It's like, no, dude.
Someone needs to send this episode of AdTalk to the head of NBC or something. But there's one interesting thing that Peacock have been using to retain customers and keep subscribers coming back. And like I subscribe to Peacock primarily for Premier League and frankly Parks and Rec. The Office.
The Office was the only reason that I even downloaded Peacock.
Right. So if you've only got like a handful of things that people are using your platform for, you're gonna try and find ways to keep that retention high. And the thing that Peacock have done is they've turned to email, which is super interesting. So they had a churn rate across streamers in the US of 47%, which was just like
47% churn rate. And that's year over year, or dang. Yeah. So half the people that signed up leave in a year,
which is absolutely crazy.
And
I'm just looking for some stats.
That is a lot, actually. I mean, I guess that makes sense because I don't know what you guys do with streaming services, but we typically cancel like we download a streaming service. There's a few that we keep always, right? Like Netflix, we keep. Amazon, obviously, we keep because Prime is Prime. We keep Hulu as well because there's just a lot of shows on there. But then pretty much all of the other ones we cancel when we're not using. I guess Disney Plus, we keep that one too. We cancel all the other ones that we're not using. So Peacock, there's like Paramount, there's like Stars, there's Apple TV Plus. There's a whole bunch of them. I don't know what you guys do, but what we do is like we download it, we sign up. Hopefully there's a trial, but we've used all the trials already. So we sign up for like a month. We binge watch whatever show just came out that we wanted to watch, and then we cancel it right after. And so I assume that 47% churn rate for Peacock is probably people doing that, right? Like they're signing up, watching what they wanted to watch, canceling, and then if something else comes out in the future, they'll sign back up again. But for me, it's like a waste of, like, I'm not just going to pay for all of these every month. If there's no contract, why would I pay for them every month?
If you're not using them. Yeah.
This is where Gmail comes in handy, because then I have about 100 emails because it's like, Matthew trial 2, Matthew trial 7,000. Just keep it going, baby.
Hey, dude, you're not supposed to say that publicly, Matthew, but yes, we've all done it.
There's an EU. Please help me.
Dude, I think what you're saying is their churn rate's 47%, but what they're doing to get people back in the door is using email broadcast, which makes complete sense to me. You've already got the data, you've got everybody on there, so they're probably just sending promo like hey, what's new on Peacock, or here's 1 month half off or whatever promos to get them back in the door. Because ultimately the people don't care about, like, I'm platform agnostic. It's all the same to me. I just want to watch the show, right? Like, so I'll sign back up for Peacock if you say that the show I like is on there. But if I don't know about the show being on there, what am I going to do? So email is a perfect,
and it's working. It's working really well. So I'm reading here that they send their 24 million subscribers roughly 3 to 5 emails a week, which translates to billions of emails, obviously, over time. Late last year, an email campaign was sent out that translated to a 20% reduction in churn rate in a 30-day period, as well as a 6% higher upgrade rate for the free users who moved into the paid tier before they took it away. So it's working.
Dude, this is what we harp on at AdClass, not to get like strategy specific, but like if you collect email as part of any of your stuff, like checkout, opt-in, whatever, if you have a list of emails and you're not sending 3 to 5 emails a week, you're just leaving money on the table. Simple as that. Like, people sign up for Peacock, they put their email in. What are you going to do? You got to market to them. It's free money at this point. You already paid for them, for their acquisition. So
I know, and it's so crazy because I feel like so many companies, they think about email like so far down the list of importance, or like where they should be spending time and energy. Because I feel like a lot of people think of email as like that's like a old person thing. It's not Snapchat, right? Like your 18-year-olds, they're not checking the email constantly. But the reality is, like, companies that do it right, I mean, this is proof. It's a big win when you do it the right way. So
sure.
Absolutely.
Crazy.
Yeah,
that's really cool. I love that. All right, next topic I'm pumped about. Caleb's not a big football fan, so I don't know how much Caleb's gonna have input on this one. But Matthew,
I'll just sit back and listen to you guys.
Gonna go warm up some popcorn.
Well, we'll educate you, Caleb. So football kicks off tomorrow. The NFL kicks off tomorrow. Very exciting. And you might be wondering, Caleb, I thought football was on Sunday. And in days of football past, it surely was Sunday football, Monday night football, right? That was pretty much it.
But I remember Thursday though, like, so I will say this. I remember in my childhood, like, Thursday is like right around, like, every year for Thanksgiving, I feel like we would watch football for whatever reason on Thursdays. So I don't know. That's the only thing I remember.
There are Thanksgiving games as well. So that's even a little different from this topic. But what's fascinating is Thursday night football, since it's launched, which I don't know, Matthew, do you know the year when they first started Thursday night? It was somewhat recent. I mean, it was during our lifetime for sure. The thing about Thursday nights is that the ratings have always traditionally been way worse than Sunday, way worse than Sunday night, way worse than Monday night. Thursday night football basically, hasn't gotten a lot of traction. Interestingly enough, last year, Amazon purchased Thursday night football. They purchased the rights to Thursday night football. So all of the games now get streamed on Amazon Prime Video.
Wow.
It's on Thursday night. So I think that it's kind of funny because when it happened last year, my dad was very taken off guard. He has Prime Video, but he's also got DirecTV, and NFL Sunday Ticket and all that. And he's texted me and called me, where the heck do I find the game? Like, why can't I watch Thursday Night Football? It used to be on ESPN, then it was on NFL Network or whatever, and now it's on Amazon. So literally, you have to go on to Prime Video. You have to have the streaming service. You have to have Amazon Prime to watch it. I think they also streamed it to Twitter, Matthew.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't remember if that was like a permanent thing.
They did it a couple times just to get some like ad revenue and like push toward Prime or something. So
yeah. So long story short, they're kicking off year 2 with Amazon Thursday Night Football. I think last year their projections were a little off. They had quoted advertisers they were going to get like 12.5 million viewers or something, and it ended up being around, I don't know, you might have the article pulled up, Matthew, I think 11 or something. It was lower than their projected viewership. I'm thinking this year they probably do a lot better. Because here's the thing. If you looked at the slate of Thursday night games last year,
it's so bad.
They were some terrible games, man. Like, just not fun to watch football games. I don't think anyone scored in the first like 4 games. I just remember thinking like, oh, another Thursday night game. No one's even going to do anything. You know what I mean? Like, it was like that week over week. So they had a really
culminated in October with my beloved Indianapolis Colts, who played the Broncos in a 12-9 overtime winner, which went until like 10:30 Central, and it was just like
terrible teams going into overtime with a no score game, basically. Like,
I was just still watching it. I was like, why do I do this to myself? This is absolutely terrible.
Yeah, I wasn't. So I think what's your takeaway, Matthew? How do you think Amazon does this year?
I mean,
Thursday Night
the
Football?
slate that they've like lined up to start the season is so much stronger. So obviously, like when this episode goes out, it will be after the game has concluded. So it's the Chiefs, the reigning Super Bowl champs, taking on like the Detroit Lions, which is a huge underdog team that's sort of risen in the past couple months, years under Dan Campbell, and they've had like a bit of a renaissance under him. So it's like 2 really interesting teams. Sort of like one is at the height of its powers, and the other one is a really plucky sort of national feel-good story. We didn't have any of that last year. It was just like, oh, I hate this team, and they're playing this team I hate as well, and it was just awful. So I feel like
there's some good teams scheduled this. I mean, tomorrow's game is going to be, like you said, they're going to be, when this comes out, it's going to be last week's game, but Chiefs Lions, everyone's going to want to watch it. It's the first game of the season. It's 2 big teams. It's going to be a great one. So I mean, tomorrow night alone should make up for their ratings from last year. You know what I mean? So. And basically the article we read was basically that they're pretty happy with their ad revenue right now, based on the viewership, right? They're getting like $500K for a 30-second slot, which I'm sure they're happy with. So
they projected 12.5 million and hit 11, like you said. But that's interesting because when it was airing on Fox, and it started in 2006, by the way, they were averaging about 16.4 million per game. So I think a lot of it last year.
But Fox is a public network, dude. Like, but just by proxy of being able to change the channel to Fox, you're going to get 5 extra million people. You're going to get all the old people that don't know what Amazon Prime is. You're going to get the people who can't afford Amazon Prime, right? Like, they got to find a way to make it more accessible if they want numbers like that.
I totally agree. And also, having the top list of teams available on Thursday night is the huge one, I think. So people are going to want to search it out and actually work out how to watch it for this, rather than watching
Jaguars Colts.
Yeah, please, let's not bring up my Colts ever again. This is just torture.
I'm sorry, but I had to say it. The one team that the Jaguars can consistently destroy is the Colts.
Everyone at this point,
somehow.
But that's
sorry,
okay.
Matthew. All right, that's a good one. All right, we got time for one more quick topic here, which I think is a fun one that you guys were looking at. I didn't get to see this commercial for it yet, but Lazy Boy, Lazy Boy recliners. It's every dad's favorite chair. I don't have one myself, but I would love a lazy boy recliner, man. I want dad's chair. I would love to just have that chair, but it's never cool enough for my wife. It's not aesthetically pleasing at all. They're just ugly big chairs. Anyways, they're rolling out an AI powered decliner as part of a brand refresh. I don't know what this means. I'm just reading the headline, so you guys got to.
Well, should we watch it?
Yeah, let's watch it.
I think Caleb, he survived that NFL talk.
Decliner.
So I think we need to give him something excitable. No.
All I know is that when I roll a 9 when I'm playing a game, like a board game, I say Niner from decliner. So that's all I'm thinking about right now is whatever this is going to be is a decliner.
All right, let's watch it.
So dumb.
No, that's pretty good. Long live the lazy. I like that.
Yeah, I dig the messaging, and I think it's like that's one of those commercials that people will talk about as like that was funny and stuff. But the actual concept is just so dumb.
It is.
Like the first time I saw that, I messaged Matthew and I was like, can you imagine messaging your friend and genuinely being like, hey, do you want to go out for dinner tonight? Would love to catch up with you. And then you get an auto response from their chair. It's llama related. That is just the worst.
I mean, that's why it's so funny though. It's it's not believable at all. I was actually expecting when I read the line that it was actually going to be an AI powered recliner, and I'm disappointed now that it was a joke.
Cool.
Yeah.
I was hoping that was going to be take your vitals and know what level of reclining is going to cause you to be the most comfortable.
It detects your heart rate and relaxation levels. No.
Massages you if it senses that you've got some pain in your
tension in this side.
This is clearly using
that. Honestly,
this is using ChatGPT 1.5, obviously. So.
Yeah, right. That's funny.
It literally says sorry, I'm helping my friend find their runaway llama.
Right. That's a good friend right there.
Oh man,
it's great. It's great.
Well, all right. This has been the State of the Union. We covered a lot today, boys. I'm. It's always fun. It's always fun going to the depths. I want to hear from the people at home. What are your thoughts on premium social media? We talked about a lot of stuff. Blocking on X,
Snapchat,
and Twitter, Snapchat, and the rise of Snapchat, fastest growing social media platform in 2023. A lot of cool stuff today. So let us know your comments. Throw them below if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching or if you're listening on any of the podcast platforms, we'd love a rating. If you enjoy what you're listening to, throw us a rating. It means the world to us. We're going to keep creating this show for you guys. And that's it. This has been AdTalk, episode 15. Talk to you next time.
Catch you next time.
Find those llamas.
Catch you on the flippy flip.